His first 8-rounder ended in a couple of minutes. Can Michal Bulk from Poland provide him with any more resistance? I listed some of the names that he's had for sparring these last few weeks. Matthew Hatton very pleased with the progress he's made, and well, after some early criticism, Darren, I think we've genuinely seen some improvements the last couple of fights, looking much more composed, picking the body shots, and looking like he's punching harder as well.
Absolutely. It was always going to be baby steps, you know, work in progress, very limited amateur experience, but he is moving in the right direction. That fort is there. He snaps the shots out more instead of pushing them. The left hook to the body is a very hurtful shot. You know, when he doubles it up, head, body, taps upstairs, drops it to the body. It's a beautiful combination.
Yeah, definitely. We need to remember as well, he's only 22, isn't he? 12 fights. But he's making good progress, like you're saying. He's stopped 2 of his last 3 fights, so he's making good progress.
In the talking point there, you mentioned Chris being the first lefty, first southpaw that he's been in with a pro. I'm looking forward to seeing how he approaches this fight. Will he get his foot on the outside? Will he vary it up? Will he get the right hand?
He just started through the middle as he took a right hand through the middle there, just as he was on the turn, Bulik.
Different ways to approach fighting a southpaw, and as a novice fighter, let's see how Campbell deals with the change in stance.
To be honest, I used to hate fighting southpaws, so that's why I became one.
Yeah, it's crazy, but you know, for the listener at home, the viewer at home who hasn't boxed, you probably hear this all the time. What is it about fighting a southpaw if you're an orthodox? Well, they do pose different questions. Certainly when I was an amateur, there wasn't as many southpaws. You come up against a lot more orthodox fighters than you did southpaws, and you know, there's always that battle with the front foot, so there's a lot of questions that you're asked when you're fighting a southpaw, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Campbell answers them this evening.
I think one of the biggest problems as well that you've got to overcome is the distance. Because twice the amount of distance is what it would be for the same stance. So it's just doubling up the jab and making sure you're getting your feet in before. You don't want to be caught in limbo.
Bulik just looking for the slip left hand. Hatton just dips off to the right hand side. It sailed past him. Nice right hand down the middle.
Yeah. Uncle Matthew asking for him not to load up. Sound advice. Snap the shots out. That was a nice jab. Swayed out of range and fired back with the shot. Good boxing.
He's certainly got the edge in reflexes and hand speed apparent in these early stages as Bulik just exits from that corner, steps around. Hatton just hunts him down again on the front foot, barreling into range. End of round 1.
Big deep breath.
A bit of a Manchester family affair tonight. We'll have the debut of young William Crawler up next, 17 years after older brother Anthony made his debut in the same arena. That was the right hand just on the turn that just momentarily staggered the legs of Bulik, landed a left hand there, but Hatton's dealt with the danger well in those first 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was just good thinking from Hatton. Wasn't rushing anything, did take a couple. It was a nice right hand, staggered Bulik. See if we can follow that up in the second round.
Corners, 10 seconds. Seconds out, round 2.
So into the second we go. Already had a brilliant scrap in our first contest of the night between Aaron Bowen and Alias Venko. Went 6 rounds, back and forth action between 2 pros with top international experience. Bowen coming out on top as Hatton just works the right hand upstairs, then to the body.
Yeah, that was good. When you're fighting the southpaw, instead of throwing that left that he favours, he's throwing the right to the body, and you'll have better success with that shot. Threw it again there as Bulik was crouching down, so good work by Hatton.
Yeah, he's definitely finding a space for that ball up the middle, isn't he, as he steps on the outside of the lead foot.
Skip round him, use the legs. Get them hands free. Good lad.
Good work there. Sorry, Cyrus. From Hatton, doubling up with the hooks there.
I don't know if you remember the feeling of clashing knees against an opposite stance. That's a very painful one.
Good shot.
He's left to the body there as Bulik was on the turn. Hatton just trying to cut the space off. Again, looks for that left hook under the elbow.
That was a good right hand. Over the top, led with the shot. Nice left to the body. This is good work. He's picking the shots well, Hatton.
Just get the sense Bulik's under a little bit more pressure now. The space just looking a little tighter for him. Just a slight sense of rush in his body language as again a right hand to the body lands.
Body shots are going in well on them.
Yeah, that was a good shot, lads, from Hatton. That right to the rib cage of Bulik. Good pressure on the front foot. And I like he's not rushing the work, Hatton. When he loads up with the shots, you can see him from a mile off. He's just got to snap the shots out, pick the shots. And we're seeing that as the fights are progressing for Hatton.
Decent counters there from Bulik, just in combination. An awkward style, jerky rhythm with the upper body and leaps in and pivots around Hatton at times, trying to escape from the corner. But that's better work from the Manchester fighter. The left hook off the attack upstairs. Decent little spell from Bulik though, just asking a few questions of Hatton, making sure he's tight defensively, boxing well on the back foot.
Yeah, when you see the shots fire out from Bulik there, they're the kind of, when I talk about speed from Hatton, I want to see speed of reaction, I want to see speed of feet. It's not always about hands, it's about defence as well. Quick, sharp head movement. Everything has to be quick. If you want to go through the levels in this game, you've got to be quick. And I don't just mean with your hands, with your feet, with your head. Got to be sharp in this game.
Just a little mouse under the right eye of Hatton, and the left hand that landed there is probably the shot that caused it earlier on in the round. He's got the same sharp features as his dad. Of course, he cut a lot in and around the eye area. When he have those problems, he's got a good cuts man in his corner, and Kerry Kay's on the left of your screen there, just trying to preempt any potential problems. Some brief plays of some of the body work from Hatton, just catching him with that arcing right hand when he's on the turn there, Cyrus.
Yeah, definitely. That's a nice shot as well. I think when you're extending from your own shot, you can't really brace for the shot, so
just good pressure. It's, good pressure on the front foot. He's not just being wild with the shots that we see early days. He's more fought, and that's what we've been calling for from Hatton.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Yeah, I've noticed after his last few fights as well, he's starting to implement a lot more feints.
Seconds out,
I think that's,
round 3.
He's getting a lot more bites, and I think that's going to open up, and I think that's maybe why he's getting a few more stoppages as well.
Spring in the step of Michal Bulk as we start the third round. Pouring out with that southpaw jab. Difficult rhythm to read, the Polish fighter. Again, just looking to counter off that little lean back. And he's off balance when he kind of pivots off that left hand, but it kind of works for him. Hard to read where the shots are coming from, awkward angles. And again, just gets himself back to centre ring. That's where Hatton needs to stay patient in these little passages of play where Bulik is making things awkward.
That's where we see some of the inexperience from Hatton when he's under attack. Sometimes he can come tall, the hands drop, and sort of found wanting a little bit. Just needs to get that chin back down to his chest, move his head, move his feet.
Making Bulik miss there and just countering with the right hand there, and again with the left hook.
One thing, you have to give Hatton a lot of credit. Every time he fights, he approaches it with real desire and will to win. Though he's learning on the job and experience is being gained every time he fights, but he approaches the fight with real desire. Like I say, he's on the front foot, he tries to work, tries to let his hands go, he wants to entertain, he wants to excite.
Yeah, I think he's fighting in that place as well for that Hatton, the trademark left hook to the body, isn't it? That he's got his 2 previous knockouts by.
Yeah, he certainly looked for it a couple of times. A little bit of reddening under that right elbow of Bulik, but at the same time, he's done his research, the away fighter. Just seen him drop that elbow down, keep it nice and tight, knows the kinds of shots that Hatton is looking for. He's had more success. That right hand down the middle, he lands again there.
Yeah, feet are going to be important here, Chris. He's got to cut the ring off. Bulik's moving an awful lot now, trying to stay out of trouble, so it's important for Campbell to now cut the ring off.
He just looks for those wild singles and tries to exit off of them laterally, left and right. Does so on cue there.
That was a nice backhand down the middle, down the middle of Hatton's jab there.
Crafty, isn't he?
Yeah. As he pivoted off to the side.
Awkward, tricky, crafty, nice right hand as Hatton just bowed forward into range there, a little bit square on.
Bulik just trying to frustrate Hatton at the minute, trying to make him fall short with shots after loading up. He's trying to play his part, Bulik.
Had a really good round there, didn't he? And a really, really good round. Let's have a look at some of the work that Bulik landed in that contest. Cyrus just saying he was using those singles as Hatton comes in a little square just to exit off of them. And I swear Hatton just needs to be a little bit more patient on the edge of punching distance, use those feints, not take the bait so much.
Yeah, I do feel that's a counter that you need to be cautious of sometimes when you're looking to close the space with that double jab, that backhand down the middle of the jab. Lomachenko does it very well, as we've seen from last weekend. Down here in his jab and pivoted off to the side, so I think that's a shot that you need to be very careful.
See the evidence just on the right side of the face of Hatton. Some of the left hands that have got through, particularly in that last round. Bulik certainly did enough to take that round. Asking plenty of questions of him as we start to approach the midway point of this contest, and how awkward, ungainly style, hands low now, starting to really fiddle around, and Hatton just trying to work the body.
Yeah, he's trying to unsettle Hatton here. Bulik moving, using his hands a lot.
It's very hard sometimes not to get sucked into going head hunting, isn't it, and aim for the chest and the throat when you've got someone like Bulik. When he's waving his hands around, he's quite elusive.
Hard to see when the shots are coming from when he's milling with the hands so much. They're down by his waist. He's changing lead hand position as well. Very, very awkward, very unorthodox.
Yeah, you bring your feet in, and when you're fighting these kind of opponents that are trying to mess you around a little bit, this is where you stab the jab to the body. You work downstairs first, then work upstairs. He'll be expecting Hatton to be throwing shots to the head first, Bulik, so he'll be able to read them and move out the way or try and fire back with counters. So that's where you work the body first with the straight shots.
I'd like to see Hatton go back with his feints as well, and that's where I think you can get a reaction, get him a shell, and then I think that's when you can get your shots off before you move them back off.
Right now, Bulik just looking like he's getting into a nice rhythm here, just settling in, feeling himself, ducking out the way of shots, seeing a lot of this coming, and even there, just a bolo off that little bit of showboating, and a mouthpiece has come out there. See if John Latham spots that. I think he has.
He'll like this though, Hatton. The fact that he's making Bulik work an awful lot. There's a lot of movement coming from Bulik, and we're only in the fourth round at the minute, so can he keep applying this pressure, Hatton, and hope the work rate, the movement of Bulik fades, and then he can have his moments.
Well, the phrase awkward southpaw, I think, is overused and lazy, frankly, just because somebody's a left-hander. It's nice to be in a situation where we can use it properly, because Bulik really is an awkward southpaw, and he's causing some problems for Campbell Hatton after a decent start for the Manchester fighter.
Couple of lefts to the body, went in from Hatton.
Nice right hand off the roll there, and just trying to cut the ring off and keep him under pressure. Little breathe out there, just a deep breath from Bulik. Is he starting to feel the pace? Did he feel that right hand to the body?
Yeah, definitely. There's a little bit more urgency from Hatton's work now, I feel.
That pressure, it's constant pressure by Hatton. Like I say, we're only in the fourth round. He's certainly feeling the pace, Bulik. He's still moving, but this will really take its toll in the later rounds.
And it's not just physically draining, it's mentally more so.
Yeah, he's moved a lot, hasn't he, especially the last couple of rounds, and Hatton looks pretty calm now. It doesn't look out of breath. He's pressing and, well, easier to chase than it is to run. Bulik loads up, just thumps a lead right hand off the guard of Hatton. Nice counter, left hook upstairs.
Just come tall, throwing that right uppercut. Hatton just caught with a jab by Bulik.
Yeah, he's just starting to breathe heavily now for the first time in the contest, whether it's the pace of Hatton, whether it was that body shot that landed. He's still having moments of success. That one there, the left hand that sent the mouthpiece flying, but he's starting to look like the gas tank is running a little low.
Yeah, he's looked for the referee a few times there, Bulik, hasn't he?
Yeah, good pressure, good work to the body from Hatton there. One right through the middle and then round the side, and he felt that. I didn't catch that in the fight live.
Bit of a grimace, wasn't it?
I think that was where he went flat. And, well, we'll talk about the main event a little bit later on. Lee Wood had a moment in the 5th round against Michal Lara in their first contest.
Corners,
that
10
right
seconds.
hand to the body in round 5 that suddenly sent Lara flat, and that was when the momentum
Seconds
shifted in
out,
Lee Wood's
round
favour. And I think there
5.
wasn't a person ringside that felt he wasn't going to take over at that point, but a thunderous left hook out of nowhere ended Lee Wood's title reign as WBA featherweight world champion. That belt is up for grabs in our main event for Lee Wood only, with the late drama that unfolded yesterday afternoon with Michal Lara missing the check weight and ultimately not making the championship weight of 126 pounds, and we will discuss how that may affect proceedings in between the next couple of fights here and before the belt. Welcome to those of you that are joining us. Chris Lloyd and Darren Barker on before the belt, and the legs of Michal Bulk have completely gone here, and John Latham steps in out of nowhere, and the fight just like that is all over. And, well, he was dancing around the ring the last couple of rounds, but he did a hell of a merry dance there, and his protest to Latham. But as a fighter, Darren, when the legs go, sometimes you don't know how hurt you are.
They were really gone as well, all over the place. Bulik was on the ropes. He did that similar Zab Judah dance against Costa Zoo. He was all over the place, had no idea how to regain his composure or his footing. You see it right around the side, back of the head, on the side, just behind that ear, and they really do scramble your senses. And he was looking, he was stalking Hatton, he was looking for that finish. You see there, really took everything away from Bulik, all over the place. He really, they're strange situations, those. You know exactly where you are, but you just cannot have any control over your feet, and that was what happened to Bulik there. He's all over the place. The referee jumps in, saves Bulik from further punishment.
Well, he landed a really nice lead right hook just before the shot landed above the ear, but, well, as you say, he was clear-headed. He felt he could carry on, but I think his legs said otherwise. And when you're in that situation, unfortunately, Sarge, you will know you're only 1 or 2 clean shots away from being knocked clean out.
But it's stoppage number 3 now in the last 4 fights for Hatton. And I'm sure he'll be pretty buzzing that he's got a head stoppage.
Well, he had to work through a really tricky patch in the 4th and the 5th round there. He was being pot-shotted and kind of fiddled from the outside by Bulik, who was having a few moments and just starting to threaten to gather a bit of momentum. But Hatton maintained his composure, stamped it out, and has got the stoppage. Let's go to David Diamante for the official result.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee John Latham calls a halt to this contest. The official time of the stoppage, 38 seconds of round number 5. Your winner by TKO, he's still undefeated, Campbell, the Hurricane Hatton.
Well, a very